Right, we're doing our predictions.
I think
we're going early, or we'll do it now.
We did League One last week, so
we'll start with League One then.
Yeah, we have to do them all.
Newcastle, who beat Workington last week, they're at home to Donny, who narrowly beaten by Oldham, 22 points to 12. Tough one that for Donny, but they're still alive. They got to Newcastle, 5 points between them in the league, and as we said, Doncaster won at Newcastle earlier in the playoffs. What do you reckon? Newcastle going to win again, Scully?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I know. We're a bit surprised I felt as though week before last at Doncaster beat them up there. So Newcastle, pretty ambitious. They want to keep moving forward at quite a rate of knots, to be honest with you. The noise of what are coming out there. So maybe a game too far this one for Doncaster. So I'll go for Newcastle to turn it around. I'll go Newcastle by 10.
I think we said last week that Newcastle got a wake-up call. That I think they'd gone into the playoffs probably as favourites, even though they were a point behind Oldham. But that defeat by Doncaster told them that they couldn't take anything for granted. I think they did hit back. I know Workington only had 14 men, but Newcastle were pretty dominant from the highlights that I saw. I think they will extract revenge on Doncaster. I think they want to go to Oldham and at least get the chance of a tilt at promotion. So I think it will be closer. We've underestimated Doncaster too much this year, and they clearly have a team spirit there. But I'm going Newcastle by 8.
Richard?
I'm hoping that when we get to the League One £25 playoff game in a couple of weeks' time, that someone finds some money to get some scaffolding to put the cameras on at Oldham to make the pitch look better. Because it looked awful on the stream yesterday. Really tin pot. And I know I'm saying that as a Wakefield fan, don't care. Newcastle, I think, are going to edge it, but you've got to be concerned, haven't you, the fact that they played 14 men yesterday and didn't blow Workington off the park as much as they probably should do when you're playing against 14 men. And Doncaster beat them a couple of weeks ago. I don't know why I'm going for Newcastle, but I am. Newcastle by 6.
I'm going to go Donny. I think Donny, having gone there and won, I actually thought Oldham had a real chance of going up automatically this year. So I actually think that was a tough game, especially back-to-back away games. I know they're away again this week, Donny, but I think they went and proved they could do a job on Newcastle. You know, Workington had 14 men yesterday, and they still only lost by 20. You know, we talk about change. Fufu Mono, was he 40 years old, played 80 minutes? No, come on, when did he last do that? You know, he must have been knackered, the guy.
But presumably, if you know you've done enough to win, doesn't matter by how many you win. If you know you're playing the next week.
Yeah. No, that's a very fair point. I'd also be thinking you want to be playing the best you can, knowing that you've got a game coming up. But I'm going to go Donny. I think Donny will do it again. They've done all right quietly, Doncaster, this year. They had a bit of a wobbly start. They've done all right.
Good old Rangy.
Only conceded 309 points. Second best defence in the league. Best defence in the teams in the playoffs. Defence wins your big games. I think they'll win. Donny by 6. Right, that is our League One game. We'll go to the Championship now. Toulouse against Featherstone. This game's on Sunday. Met a couple of weeks ago, a controversial game. Toulouse just held on at the end. Featherstone thought they did enough to win it. They didn't. Toulouse second in the Championship. Featherstone from 5th. Featherstone, with Leeds players, going to do a Leeds Scully.
You can't rule it out, can you? They've got the players who know what the big game experience is all about. They're smart. They know exactly what they have to do from there. They're a team. Individuals know the job. As a team, collectively, they know what they're doing. The contribution from their quality individuals. If they need to change it, certainly with Dane Chisholm, who for me is up there with the best players in the league. Toulouse, they'll be looking to bounce back, won't they, after a very different performance over at Toronto. You know, at times they were good, but then at times they were awful. And if they put in a performance where they perform awful for the minutes what they did against Toronto, then Featherstone will turn them over, because I think Featherstone will go there with a game plan, as I say. They will stick to that game plan for the full 80 minutes. And if they can frustrate Toulouse, get into him, force a few mistakes from there, then yeah, there could be a surprise here. And I'm going with Featherstone. I am. I'm going with the flat cappers, and I've got to add as well. one of the big flat cappers, and to be honest with you, I worked with him when I worked for Mark Campbell a couple of years ago. A guy called Mark Scofford, and he passed away at the weekend, diagnosed with cancer 2 weeks ago, and lasted just 2 weeks, and yeah, very, very sad. So, Mark will be looking down on his Featherstone club. He's looking down on the Featherstone players. Come on, lads! Another performance, if you wouldn't mind, from there. I'm going Featherstone to frustrate Toulouse, take the opportunities when they come along. I don't think there'll be much in. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game, to be honest with you. But I'm going to Featherstone by 7.
It's a very compelling argument, and I think the one thing that will hamper Toulouse more than anything is that they've got to cope with a flight back from Toronto, so it makes it a really short turnaround for them. But I watched that game last night and thought, what incentive is there really for Toulouse? Go out there, do a bit of reconnaissance, give Toronto a couple of things to think about, but you're not frying your fish this week. That's coming in 2 weeks' time, if you can get back there. And I think you look at key men in teams and...
Named a very strong side, if you want to have a look round.
He did, but I looked at people like Jonathan Ford, and that was one of the less impressive displays I've seen him put in recent times. Now, it looked like he might have taken a whack in the back early on, and he may have thought, I'll just preserve myself. But I just thought that was a very un-Toulouse-like performance in the first half. It was almost as if we need to take our guys out there because we have to fulfil this fixture. We'll treat it with respect because these guys will be the ones that are coming back in a fortnight's time. But there comes a point in every game that if you know you're not going to win it, and I think they knew at half-time they couldn't possibly... In fact, if Toronto kicked all their goals, it would have been over after about 25 minutes. That Toulouse preserved themselves. And I think that's probably what's going to carry them through this week. I think it's to their advantage that the game doesn't kick off till 6:30 on Sunday. That gives them maximum recovery time that you could possibly have. Don't know what the weather's going to be like. I think if it is the kind of temperatures it was against York, that favours Toulouse. I think the forecast this week is it's going to be unsettled across Europe, so the likelihood is it's going to be very hot at 6:30 in the evening. I just think that the one thing that Toulouse have got that Featherstone haven't is a bit more flair. That Featherstone are structured, they're disciplined, they'll play for each other, they won't make many mistakes. But when you get down to games like this, you've got to have somebody that can break it. And the one thing that Toulouse did at the end of that match against Toronto was they didn't stop playing. And Carella's third try was arguably the best Crash League try of all of the ones that we saw. They still played. And I think at home, with the prospect of going back to Toronto, who I think in their mind Toulouse know they can beat.
Well, they have, but they're on the
because
team
they've got the game that I think Toulouse will just do enough to claw a victory against Featherstone and probably will win it by 2.
Something in my mind thinks there's a great story in massive metropolitan city Toronto playing Pit Village without a Pit Fev for a place in Super League, but it potentially might not be a place in Super League because we don't know what's happening. I do enjoy watching Toulouse and the way they play, but I am going to side with Featherstone Rovers. There's something about them. I thought they'd lose at York because I'm an idiot, and I must say I was surprised by how well they played on Saturday, or how much they blew them away in the second half because they were superb. And what a signing Dane Chisholm has been for Fev, and I've taken the mick out of their use of dual reg release, but they've done it the right way, haven't they? And it's been a benefit to both parties, on and off the field, players and coaches. So I'm going to give the edge to Featherstone. Ashton Golding hat-trick to celebrate his move to Huddersfield. In case unless you're watching this and it's not been announced, and I'll just read what it says in the papers. Featherstone by 4.
I think this is going to go all the way. I think this has got a golden point. I think it's so tight. I agree with what you said, Phil. They have got some match-winning players. There's some really good players of Toulouse, but there's just something about Featherstone. I don't know whether it's the fury of being denied right at the end against Toulouse a few weeks ago, when that is going to give them a hell of a score to settle. That would have completely turned around the route of this playoff map. And I just think there's a point to prove for Fev, and I think they'll go to Toulouse and really take it to them. It's not going to be easy. Featherstone will be aggressive, hard-working, they'll have to cope with some good rugby being thrown at them. But I think if it gets into a scrap, I think Featherstone will. I think they're battle hardened. They've had 3 really tough games on the trot. I know Toulouse have had a tough run at the end of the season as well, but Fev going away from home and winning at Leigh and York, the 2 teams directly above them, they'll fancy it with Toulouse. I think they lost both league games to them only just. I think one by 6 and one by 2. I think Fev will win. I'm going Golden Point for Fev to win. It'll be Dane Chisholm drop goal. I'll tell you now. Dane Chisholm is going to win it for Fev in Golden Point. There you go. Right, let's have a look at Super League then. We'll start on Thursday. Salford against Castleford. Winner goes through, loser goes home. Gary Schofield.
Looking forward to this one, very much so. 2 coaches who know how to play the game in the right way. One with a show, they know that the forwards have got to lay the foundations. I think the 2 packs are ripping at each other here. I don't think there's anything given at all with the 2 pack of forwards. And I'm looking at the big one here now in Lee Watts, just the back of League Weekly, and he'll be looking to set the right example again. Castleford will be expecting the big game players to step up again, and Salford's reliance for me is too much on Jackson Hastings. I think Cass will be making sure they do a job on him. It won't surprise me if Adam Milner's not starting out for Cass and he does the job of looking after Jackson Hastings, if I'm honest with you, from there. Cass fancy this. Cass have fancied the playoffs for a few weeks. Going there with plenty of confidence. The players are happy. They've got a smile on their face from there. Darryl Powell has set the challenge for his players after what's happened over the last 2 years. What happened in 17 last year, they went out in the first round. Cass fancy it this year. They fancy it. Salford were magnificent last week against Wigan. Is this maybe a game too far? I think it could be. I fancy Cass. And again, I'm going Castleford, and I'm going Castleford by 7.
This is just so intriguing because Ian Watson, you could tell, was incredibly proud of the effort that his players put in, but slightly disappointed at the errors that they made. And he kept talking about, we need to learn from it. But I don't know how much you can learn in less than a week, because you don't have the time necessarily to change too much. It's about survival this time of the year. And I don't know how much that game at Wigan took out of Salford. I know that they'll have a passionate backing. I know that early on in the game they'll play with an intensity like they did against Wigan, and if they score early, which they couldn't do at the DW, I think they have a chance of going on and winning it. But if they don't score, I genuinely don't know how much energy there is left in this Salford team. It's been a fantastic ride. They've overachieved. They're determined to go down fighting. We don't know if Jackson Hastings is going to play. We know that there's a bit of an injury doubt at the
He'll
moment.
play if he has a bloody Captain Bird's eye patch on.
But we don't know how effective he'll be if he's resting all week and just coming in at the end. I don't know. What I do know is that Cass have got the ingredients to take them to at least the next game. This Cass team reminds me of the one in 1999, who made the playoffs and nothing was expected of them. Had a group of players that had a fantastic work ethic. Probably got this wrong, but I think they went to Leeds and won. And then I think in Wigan's
at
the DW Stadium. And then I think they played St Helens in the game leading to Old Trafford, and they were winning at half time. It was very close at half time. They fell away in the second half. There's a touch of that team about this one 20 years on, and I think Darryl Powell can harness that. And whilst I would like to see Salford have a chance to go back to the DW Stadium if St Helens beat Wigan as I think they might, and I'd like to see that from a neutral's point of view, I've just got a feeling that Cass have got something about them to get over this hurdle. Which is not to say they can get over the next one, but I think if Cass hold in there for the opening half an hour, then they'll do like they did at Warrington and they'll win a very narrow match by a couple of points.
Bad news for Cass is they're playing Salford this week, and last week they played a bang out of form Warrington side who haven't been good for a while. Salford had a free goal last week, didn't they? They knew they could go to the DW, have a go, see what happened, and knew they'd have another go this week. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I think it's going to be a big crowd. You know, we talk about the crowd figures, and when I say big, I mean relatively for Salford, because people are buying into this, and we know there's going to be lots from Cats there. We know there's going to be plenty of noise from Salford. This could be a hell of an atmosphere. I think I'm going to have to side with Salford just because they have been the better team over the 29 weekly rounds. Got to say, a lot of games, isn't it? But narrowly, again, I'm going to go for Salford by 2.
I'm glad you said that, because I was like thinking, I don't want us all to go against Salford, because we all know what happens when we go against Salford, they win.
And we get slaughtered.
We're like Jeremy Corbyn, we haven't got a position either way, we're in the middle on this.
Rich, you've got your cash shirt on as well.
Why not? Yeah, I'm not really a cast on, am I? I'm going to kiss the badge.
You've got your cash shirt on, you've gone for Salford.
He ain't getting out of here tonight.
Have you been on the surf already?
Right.
Corbyn, I've got a bad back.
Okay.
Carrie knew what last week.
Oh, here we go. Oh, a bad back when we finished kicking you in the car. Salford were great last week, and not many go to Wigan and push them that close. Cass tried it the week before and didn't get anywhere near as Salford got. Can they back that up? I thought Cass would lose last week. I didn't think they'd win, but the one thing about Cass that makes me think they can win is their defence. They haven't conceded hardly any tries in the last 6 weeks. You know, Saints lost 4-0, went to Wigan, lost a couple of tries second half, but I think defensively Cass have got enough. The worry I have about Cass is their attack, and what I do think is Salford will score some points. Can they back it up? Yeah, I think they can. They won 8 games on the spin. That shows they can back it up. I think it's going to be narrow. I genuinely, I have no issue with who wins this game. I think the best team, and I think, I'm going to say it now, I think the team that wins has got a good chance of getting to the grand final. So I'm going to go Salford, because I think on another day last week they might have won that game. And not many teams go to Wigan and win, so I am going to say Salford.
Well, it's that tight, isn't it? This game, it's that tight. You get. You know,
it is. Honest, I could see Castleford and winning, and Salford.
Yeah, there's not going to be much in it.
No,
I can see one of these teams possibly running away with it late on, because that happens in play.
Maybe,
but I don't know which one.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Neither of them get blown away. You know, even Salford, when they were losing early, they were only losing by the odd try here and there. Same for Cass. Even when they've been pretty ordinary, they very rarely get hammered.
Do you know what as well?
I
reckon as well, the talk in the dressing room from both these sides will be, we don't want our season to end on Thursday. Yeah. That will be a big saying in both dressing rooms. We don't want our season to end on Thursday, and we don't want Mad Monday next Monday. So we can leave that for another couple of weeks.
All right, fair enough.
We've gone for Salford then, which means Luke Gale to Leeds will be announced on Friday or Monday next week.
It will. And the last game is on Friday. Saints against Wigan, placing the grand final away. Saints, league leaders, 3 defeats all season. The only team to have beaten Wigan in the last 14 games, I think. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I can't see Saints getting beat, to be honest with you, from there. They've had a week off, and I want to make sure that they can handle the pressure. Wigan, yeah, we know what Wigan are going to bring. You know, the experience are there, we know the DNA from there, but I just feel as though St Helens, they have to win. Anyway, they have to win, because if not, it's massive pressure the week after to get to Old Trafford, and then the pressure is winning it. So Saints have to win this one, and I think they will. Wigan know, that they've got. They'll have a second bite of the two, whether it's Salford or Wigan coming back to the DW from there. I just think Saints are ready for this. They are prepared for this. They want another week off. They want to get ready for the grand final. They have been the best team all season. I'll go to St Helens by 14.
The interesting thing for me was something that Justin Holbrook said when he was on Sky, because he was quite right. He said that the week off is whatever you want it to be. It either will work for you or it can work against you. But the one thing he said that I hadn't fully appreciated until he said it was they have played 33 weeks straight, because they've played every round of the cup, including the final, and all of the league fixtures. That week off could not have come at a better time for St Helens. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you're James Roby or a young kid coming through the ranks. To play so much intense rugby week in, week out, to have a week off now is massive. So I think that will have primed St Helens. I think they will have been able to totally focus on this game. It's at home. They can reward their fans for their loyalty. They can book as you said, it's a bit like taking a bit of pressure off. They can book a place at Old Trafford in the knowledge that they've got an extra week to prepare for it. Wigan are skilled enough in playoff football to know that they can get to Old Trafford whether they win this week or not, because they've got everything they need to get to Old Trafford. And I suspect that this is probably a game too far for Wigan. They'll be ultra competitive, but they don't need to win it. And I suspect that Saints will start at a level of intensity, and Wigan will still have the feeling of that game against Salford. That was as physical a game as I've seen this season. That was forwards belting each other for 80 minutes.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And I think that will catch up with Wigan this week, that Saints will play the way Saints do. They'll score early, they'll go on and win it, probably win it by 12, and then everybody else can fight out to see who plays Saints at Old Trafford.
Thank goodness this game's on TV, because I couldn't come up with another 700 million articles saying why this game has to be on TV and not OKR versus Leeds or whatever. Those were the great highlights of the 2019 season. Saints just... What a job Adrian Lam has done in turning Wigan around from the shambles they were midway through the season, when Wakefield tore them apart with Dave Fafita marauding down the wing, to the team who finished second, and Adrian Lam's not on the shortlist for the Coach of the Year. That is a disgrace, but Saints will win this one by 8.
St Helens need to win a big game. This isn't a big game, because there's always next week for them, right? They'll win, right? And they'll win because Wigan know, don't matter what happens. Wigan could go there and win by 50. It's not a grand final, it doesn't matter. They could lose by 50 and rock up 2 weeks and still beat them. I think Saints, I agree with you. The interesting one, someone's just mentioned the weather. It's got to rain all week. Could be a bit of a leveller, but
Right.
I think Saints will come out and win the game, because I get what Scott is saying, if they don't win, there's massive pressure on the week after, but I think they'll win. I think Wigan will win the grand final. I genuinely do. I've said that. We saw them 2-3 months ago, and I said that they're going to win the grand final. I think they will. They lost to St Helens, the only team that's beaten them in 14. Didn't mean anything. Just meant Saints were 16 clear rather than 12 clear if Wigan had won. Meant nothing in the grand scheme of it. Wigan will go there. They'll give it everything. They always do. They might have a few bumps and bruises. They'll know they've got 2 big games ahead of them. I think Saints will win. It'll be tight because I don't think there'll be a lot of points in it. I'll go for Saints by 4. That's it. Done. Dusted. We've run over again, so we'll let you go. Thank you for your time. Thanks for getting in touch. Thanks for downloading the podcast. Keep downloading if you would.
Especially if you're in Uzbekistan.
Yeah, if you're in Uzbekistan or India. We need a few more listeners in India.